So we are live for our fourth podcast, this time specifically on what we did during the last weekend on the Internet Engineering Task Force 100, which was the IETF 100 hackathon. We've received a lot of questions from people from the hackers.mu community and also from people outside. And people have asked us different questions. So we have different people this time with us. So we'll first start with Jacques Via. Can you please introduce yourself?
Yes. Hello, guys. So I am Lucky Jacques from Mauritius. So I'm currently working as an IT specialist at the Orange Business Service in a networking field. So today, I am willing to learn more things about the new technologies around the world. And also, as Logan mentioned, so I am the moderator of the new mailing list of IT and Internet of Dodoland in Mauritius, which has been launched by the hackers.mu community. And also, I'm very happy to get the opportunity to lead the mailing list in a fruitful way. Right? So
Yes.
thank you, guys.
So next is Kifa. Kifa, unmute yourself.
Okay. Hello everyone, I'm Kifa, currently student at Collège du Saint-Esprit. Just finished Form 5 and I'm a member at hackers.mu and was one of the participants at the TLS 1.3 hackathon.
Next is Nitin. Unmute yourself.
Hello, I'm Nitin from Orange Business Service. I also blog at tenelix.com. So I am. Over to you.
So next is Kodaren.
Kodaren from hackers.mu. I am number 4. And that's all.
Keshav. Unmute yourself.
Yes, guy. My name is Keshav. I am a student of software engineering last year, and I'm a board representative of Academic Council Mauritius, and also a secretary junior in Car Factory IS.
Okay. Thank you. Next is Yash.
I'm Yash Popia, currently pursuing a BSc Computer Science degree at the University of Mauritius. Participated in the IETF 100 hackathon and the hackers.mu banner. That's all.
Our last person is Vina. So Vina, can you please introduce yourself and unmute first? Okay, good.
Hello everyone. My name is Vina and I'm a student at CITEC, which is School of IT, Electronics and Communication. And I'm currently doing my diploma in Information Technology. And that's it.
Okay, so Vina, can we start with you?
Yes.
So you've seen a lot of pictures about what we've been doing. So what are the first questions that you have for us?
Well, in terms of definition, I get to know what it is, but I would like you to explain it in the way if a child asks you what is TLS 1.3 and how are you going to explain it to him. And let's say, for example, if you are explaining an IP address, you can take the example of a postman, right? So if you were to explain TLS to a child, what is the simplest terms you will be using?
Okay, so who wants to answer from the hackers.mu side? Who wants to try to answer? What is TLS 1.3?
I can start the explanation.
Okay.
Are you in a browser right now, Vina?
I am.
Do you notice that small secure button there at the start of your HTTPS link?
Yash, can you just show
Yes,
sharing your
yes,
screen?
yes.
Oh, yes, I'll share my screen too. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
The little green lock.
the little green lock, yes. I'll try to get something that's not sensitive. Wait, bear with me a moment. Let me show. Yes, here it is. Yeah. Can you see that small, that secure button here?
Yes.
This means that your information that you pass through this browser is encrypted. That encryption can be done through various protocols such as SSL-v3, TLS, TLS 1.1, TLS 1.2, or 1.3. The latest iteration of this protocol is TLS 1.3. Logan, can you continue on that?
Is it a version 1.2, 1.3? Is it
Is it what? Can you please
a
add it?
version?
Uh, New versions come out as old ones are less secure, like when bugs are found in TLS 1.2. They made TLS 1.1. They made TLS 1.2.
Okay.
So thank you, Yash. So who wants to add on what who wants
Shit.
to add on what who wants to add on what Yash just said?
So let me add some few stuff.
Okay.
The TLS 1.3 has been created because it has more secure mechanisms in it. For example, more security about the stream ciphers or about the compressed data mechanism. For example, long time back in the, I would say long time back because now we are in 1.3, TLS version 1.3. The 1.2, we did not have the compress, we had the compress mechanism. 1.3, we are going to remove that. So that's one of the security aspects that have been included in the TLS 1.3. There are various other security hints, but just one of them is about some keys has been removed. For example, ASA key has been removed from the TLS 1.3. That's it. Okay.
So who wants to talk next? Try to give a simple explanation of TLS 1.3. I guess. So Vina, is this now clear to you?
Well, I would like someone else to give me a more simpler explanation because, I mean, without using technical terms, because I don't quite understand the technical terms some are using.
Okay. So maybe Kodaran, you want to try?
I will let you answer this one.
So we are going to ask the technical guy to answer something not technical.
Okay. So I'll try to do it. So the best way I think that I can do it is by again sharing my screen. So just give me 1 second. Then we'll take Keshav's question and Loki's question as well. So just let me share my screen. Okay, so there we are. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
So as you see here, back when when the internet was created, everybody trusted each other. So when I would log in into for example, my Gmail or just doing a Google search, we didn't need the S, okay?
So
We didn't.
when I would log in.
So this has changed now. The problem being that in order for this to work, when you log in on your Gmail, you're typing your username and password. Is that right, Vina?
Yes.
So if someone captures your username and password, is that a problem for you?
Yes, of course.
Okay. So in order to prevent this, the IETF implemented something called SSL, which is basically an addition to what everybody uses as the HTTP protocol is called SSL. So when it was first designed, as others told you, it was called SSL.
Yes.
However, the problem with SSL was that over the years, there were issues with some of its design, and subsequently it went through many changes. Then it was changed to TLS.
Okay.
So for example, if you click here, okay, if you click on secure, you can learn more. Oh, yeah, sorry, let me just, okay. If you click on it, you see that the page is secure, right?
Yes.
If you scroll here, can you see this connection is encrypted?
Yes.
And then it says using TLS 1.2.
Yes.
Okay, which says it's a strong protocol. So the latest currently production version of TLS is called TLS 1.2. The next version is called TLS 1.3.
Okay.
Which hasn't been finalized yet. So every time you log in on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, you're using TLS.
Okay.
Is that part clear?
Yes. Yes. It's obvious.
Yes. So what we need now is a way, as I said, so that when you type your username and password, it's encrypted. The advantage when it's encrypted is that you have to understand, for example, if you go, how many times do you log in the university network?
In my Gmail?
Yes.
Never.
Never? Why? You don't trust the university network?
No, I don't trust.
Okay. Do you use Facebook during university hours?
No, no. Only at home.
Okay. So if you did that, since it's encrypted, even if someone was looking at your internet traffic, it would be hard for them to know, because they would have to find a way to decode it since it's encrypted.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So does that make more sense now? How widespread TLS is?
Yes, of course. Thanks.
Okay. Did we answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So I'll stop sharing my screen. So let's take the other questions. So let's start with Jagvir. Your turn. Shoot your question.
Yes, I have several questions to ask about the IETF. So the first question is, people in Mauritius know about the IETF.
Your turn. Shoot your question.
Yes, I have several questions to ask about the IETF. So the first question is,
sharing my screen.
Logan, I can't hear you, man.
Sylvain, can you mute yourself?
Can you repeat your question, Jagvir?
So, do people in Mauritius know about the IETF community?
Okay. So who wants to answer this question?
I did not get the question right. Can you just repeat the question again?
So the question is, do people in Mauritius know about the IETF community?
Of course, we hackers.mu know the IETF community as well as in several universities, and the IETF has been introduced about the basic stuff, I think so. I know that in the British Computer Society modules, they introduced the IETF, also the ICANN and several organizations. But the thing is that many people don't understand the importance to participate in an IETF hackathon.
Exactly.
And Exactly. And so they don't understand why is it important to contribute in an IETF hackathon instead of just like to go and register and to listen to what people does, which doesn't make sense at all. Because normally IETF is like an open society. Some people are allowed to go and to watch over what's happening. And some people are allowed, for example, the technical person would surely go and participate in a hackathon instead of just watching what's happening. Because it's fun when you participate in a hackathon. Yeah. That's my thought. Let Logan explain a bit more about it.
So to answer Javia's question, almost all universities today, and even Cambridge mentions networking and introduces a bit of IETF. We have to understand what differentiates the IETF from other standards body. So, for example, there are other standards bodies such as the I'll take the example of the ITU, for example. You have to pay a certain amount of money to be part of it and to participate in study group. So the IETF, the barrier of entry is very low. So if you have an idea, you join a relevant, what we call working group, and then you say, I'm working on this idea, and I would like to work together on standardizing this protocol that I'm developing. So for example, if you're a university student, you wouldn't need to go through the university to be able to participate in the IETF. You can just join in, say, this is what I'm doing for my final year project or an assignment, and I would like to have your views regarding what I'm doing. So that's the major difference between the IETF and the other standards organization, broadly.
Yeah.
So did I answer your question, Jagvir?
Yes, Logan. So the next question is, so why TLS has been implemented nowadays?
Okay, who wants to answer this one? Okay, I guess I'll try to answer this one. So TLS
Why?
was designed. Yash, you want to answer it? Yash?
These are the other thing right now.
Okay. So TLS was designed because when e-commerce started exploding at the end of the 90s, where people wanted to do e-commerce on eBay, when people were moving towards what we call now cashless society. Because before the internet, how were we doing payments for goods?
HTTP. No, payments for goods.
Payments for goods. We were using paper money, right?
Yes.
Yes. So as we move there, people foresaw that there would be a need for a protocol that could be used to encrypt information, sensitive information such as credit card, username, password. And it had to be lightweight as well, because you could use, for example, TLS is so flexible that you can use it with HTTP, you can use it with mail. There are other services as well that you can just bolt TLS on. So it was designed to be quite flexible in that regard. So did I answer your question, Jagbir?
Yes, Logan. Okay, good. So, and also I have the last question. So, in different conferences, people mention the RFC. So, I want to know why people do mention the RFC in different conferences around the world when they are doing the IETF conference.
Okay, who wants to answer this one?
What was the question again? Sorry.
So the question is why people mention the RFC in different conferences around the globe.
Why did they mention the RFC?
Yeah.
So RFC is like a standard that all of us must follow to have a secure internet and secure everything.
The RFC is like a blueprint. So you can have a blueprint, but in order to implement the the standard, you need code. So that's what the RFC is for. It's a blueprint. Do you understand what a blueprint is?
No. Can you talk about it?
Yes, it's a bit like plans, design plans to build something, like plans for a house, and then based on the plan, you build the house.
Okay. Great. Okay.
To just to add some more stuff about RFCs, there are several types of RFCs. Some RFCs are called standard cracks, some are called best current practice. There are others called informational RFCs, so that it's just to give some information to educate people about some stuff about the protocol. So we also have RFCs about, for example, best practice, how to implement, for example, TLS.
Okay.
Okay, so there are also RFCs, for example, about pervasive monitoring. So this is an informational RFC. If you want, you can have a look.
So, Jagvia, what's the next question?
So that's it.
That's it? Are you done? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure.
So no question about the hackathon itself, how it goes, how.
Yeah. Can you elaborate about it?
Okay, who wants to talk about the hackathon? So everybody has talked, but only one person hasn't talked yet. So Kifa, can you give us your perspective about the hackathon?
Well, how do I see this? It was fun. It was a fun experience to be able to contribute to the next security protocol. So what I did was implement it in F times, a forensics tool in Linux. So making the patch was pretty easy. It was 1 or 2 line patch, but the real challenge is to test it out. We spent 2 days, I think, just for testing it, but the patch didn't take a long time. So I'm just the beginner so far, and I haven't done degree or whatever. So I think anybody could contribute to the next version as long as they're interested, and if they want to learn, they'll learn. Yeah.
So Kifa, don't worry, you don't have to do a degree to implement that. I didn't do a degree as well.
Nice.
Who else would like to talk about his experience of a hackathon?
Well, let's say that if you don't prepare yourself on the day for the hackathon, you're going to end up very bad, because you can have your code ready, everything's working on the code, but once you test it, I see Yash laughing. Once you test it, it's going to be very hard. You can have so many errors, and you need to go back to the code and again try to do things. I remember when I was with Darren looking at some code. That was we didn't expect to find things like that. It was kind of it was very interesting, but as well as we were a little bit tired as well. But we managed to do. That's the goal, and it was fun.
So who else would like to speak about his experience during the IETF 100 hackathon?
So for my part, I helped the other guys to work on their projects, and they absorbed all my energy. And at one point, I crashed. They were asking so many questions. How do you do this? How do you do that? So being a mentor as well is tiring. So that's for my part.
Yeah, but it was fun. At the end, we all learned what we did. And I remember when we were watching the slides live at the IETF presentation. It shows a Mauritius flag,
First flag, yeah.
Yes.
and we were all uploading.
So I'm just going to cut it right now just to show our people who are listening in case they missed it. So I'm just going to share my screen so that people can see.
Yeah, go shoot the video as well.
Yeah. So let's share my screen. I hope you can all see it. So can you see it? The slides.
Yes.
So those are the slides that were prepared for TLS 1.3 by the whole team, not only in Mauritius, also people from different countries. As you can see, it's the final lap. Hopefully, TLS 1.3 is going to get more traction. So one of the goals was keep improving the core protocol and also adapting. This is where we were working a lot, adapting applications to use TLS 1.3. So here it lists the team. So 16 people from in Singapore, meaning 16 people present in Singapore, 8 remote participants from countries like Japan, London, and Mauritius, and there they mentioned hackers.mu. So what I would like to point out here is that 2 of those countries, Japan and London, they both have 2 things in common. They're considered developed countries. So we have one is that they both have the atomic power. And second, we also have a people who are very good, but they can develop a protocol. And Mauritius is starting to join those countries, despite our status as a co-developing country. So that's just the slides. Okay, so I'll before we proceed, I'll just take one question from Vina. So Vina, can you ask us live your question, please?
Okay. My question is, are there many girls participating in the hackathon?
Thank you, Vina. So who wants to talk about the IETF hackathon in general and also the one that we do in Mauritius? So who wants to?
When I saw the video at the at Singapore, I did saw some girls there as well, but there are not too many girls, but there were some girls there which I saw on the video. That's what I noticed.
Currently, hackers.mu has no girls in our ranks, but if we do find someone who is willing to learn and who gives a lot of effort in what they are doing, we are ready to take them in.
Okay.
Maybe you'll be the first one, Veena.
Oh, great.
I'd just like to add something at this point.
Sure.
I think in the IT field, this is a common misconception. Many people think that the community must be diverse, that there must be 50% girls and 50% boys. I think that this applies to any and all fields. Um, we don't want diversity. What people are looking for are the best. It doesn't matter if they're male or female, regardless of gender. We want the best at that field, in that field.
Okay. So
Yeah, of course. Anyone have to do their best, and I not say that they need to strive, but it should be fun. They should enjoy what they are doing.
Yeah, you shouldn't force anyone into doing it. I see many campaigns like just all girls code. Did a recent workshop just for girls.
It's,
This isn't equality. But I may be going some off topic here.
yes, very
Okay.
good. We need to focus on quality. That's it. Very good.
So Keshav, do you have a question? Now it's time to ask it. Keshav?
Yes, Guy, about your aims and IETF, do you think that in the futures will it benefit for all listeners? Like, just take an example. You have told about introducing in module security in universities. Yes, but in the future, do you think that this will go far away?
So I think Darren can answer this because he's been very active on university campuses. So, Darren.
If I understand your question correctly, you're asking is TLS going to go a long way or hackathons?
TLS maybe.
Okay, well, of course, it will be used by everyone. And I don't really know what to say about that because eventually everyone, every server in the world, every client will have to adhere to this protocol sooner or later. So let's say banks, insurance companies, everyone will have to use our code.
But what about some just like base attack and puddles? Does it in the future will affect the new TLS 1.3?
Good question.
Yeah, very good question.
Let me just
And
say something.
one last thing. Crime, compression ratio info leak made easy.
Okay.
In
So
in SSL, there was a mechanism about compression. IISC, there was also renegotiation. This has been removed in TLS 1.3. It was even present in TLS 1.2. Now in TLS 1.3, it's not no more here. So what you're saying about the poodle and the heartbleed attacks, you won't find it in TLS, but
You'll find new work.
it probably, if some people try to explore the codes more deeply and try to improve it, we can escape from these types of vulnerability. So the thing is that I would ask why people don't go on the OpenSSL or on the codes and try to make an audit about it. Go and find bugs.
You know, one thing recently some TLS got no breach, the breach browser coincidence exploitations via adaptive compression. They have just got some attacks recently in TLS.
okay, can I answer this question?
Yes, you can answer that.
Okay. So TLS 1.3, the major changes are that it's faster because it requires less going back and forth from the server because it has been simplified somehow, the TLS handshake process. The second thing is that, as Nitin said, a lot of the really old ciphers, the legacy ones, have been deprecated. So you have mostly the new ones. So you have less ciphers, but better ciphers. The third thing is that features like compression that were important back in the 90s because bandwidth was scarce. But however, as we move to an internet where there's more bandwidth, maybe not inside Mauritius, but outside Mauritius, it has become less of a need to have compression because compression with encryption tends to weaken the encryption. So the advantage being that with TLS 1.3, a lot of those compression mechanisms have been removed, for better security. However, there are certain mechanisms that have been implemented in TLS 1.3, such as something called zero RTT mechanism, which basically says they want to reduce the handshake further. The problem about doing that is that there are some issues with session replay with TLS 1.3. Again, that's an option that was built in TLS 1.3 specification, and unless you're using it, then it's not an issue. But again, I can see, for example, applications that require, they really want a very fast handshake. They would probably go for something like this. And again, as Nitin said, it's very important that as the protocol is being drafted, more people like us, in fact, use the software, use TLS 1.3 and try to find security issues before the protocol is finalized, before people start massively deploying it on their servers.
Yeah, of the old
Just
open source. So,
Just one thing, guys. You see that it is a new 1.3 is a new mechanism, but some days there's many just like the beast. Take an example of this. It use cipher blockchain attack, and it's plain attacks. In cryptography is the best way to just corrupt it. But do you see that the new attack, suppose new attack has been exploited in the future about 1.3? Do you think that it will occur?
Probably yes, because as now as computing power becomes cheaper, so the current design of those current ciphers in TLS 1.3, they might satisfy the current, they might be resistant to the current computing power of the current clouds, for instance. But in 5 years, in 7 years, this may no longer be true, in the sense that what is currently considered difficult to do against the current ciphers right now, it may not be so in 3, 4, 5 years as computers become even more powerful. Because right now I can buy a smartphone that has 8 CPUs. So just imagine, for example, hello Niraj. So just imagine the power that I would have by clustering all smartphones. Hello Niraj.
Yeah, hello.
Niraj, so he's from India. He was the finalist, the winner of Google Coding in 2008, 16 for
16.
Drupal, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
16 Drupal.
Yes. So do you have any question about TLS 1.3, the IETF?
Yeah, I have been working on.
Can you speak louder, please? Please speak louder.
Am I audible proper? Is it proper now?
Yes, now it's better.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So just a second. Okay. Yeah, I'm audible now.
Yes, you are.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay. So I have. Yeah. Is it proper now?
You speak.
Yes. Okay, cool. So I've been working with full stack and neural networks for some time. So this IETF and TLS is kind of new stuff for me. If you introduced me about IETF last week or sometime. So you can think of like I'm blank at this moment of idea regarding IETF and any other stuff like TLS.
Niraj, are you still with us?
Do you hear that?
Yes. So can you?
I was just.
Yes. Go on.
What?
Don't hesitate.
Yeah. So I was just saying that I was being introduced about IETF and TLS stuff last week by Kifa. So I'm not having any kind of questions because I don't know much about IETF and TLS right now. So
Okay, that's fine. So basically, we're discussing about basic stuff about the TLS and the IETF and why should people participate in hackathons. So this is what exactly we are talking about. So if you want, you can just ask some questions. Okay, that's fine.
okay.
So I think we've answered most of people's question. Again, I would like to thank Keshav for being with us. So if there are no more questions, we'll just shift to our last and one of our most important topics of today. So we are going to talk about the new mailing list that we've created. So it's really good news. A lot of people have been waiting for it. So, Jagvir.
Yes, sir.
So, can you explain to us a bit more about the mailing list and later just do a share screen explaining how people can join it?
Okay, good. Can you give me 1 minute, please?
Sure. Sure. Take it.
So by the time Lucky is fixing his screen about so basically I think this is one of the new initiatives taken by the hackers to bring people more together in the community and to discuss IT stuff, internet related activities in the group. And we focus really to help people and bring other people with us, even if they are in Mauritius or anywhere from the world. So that's a very good initiative to create that mailing list. Because in Mauritius we don't have really good mailing list which focus on so many aspects.
Okay. So in this case, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to give me a few minutes. I'm just going to share the screen for everybody to see. So you actually have a link to the mailing list, and I encourage everybody in Mauritius who is an internet user, who is an IT student, if you have any question, for example, regarding something like how do I install Ubuntu, I'm having an internet issue, here's my issue, or I've heard about this technology and I would like to know more about it. Just like Vina said, for example, she wanted to learn more about TLS in a simple manner. So the mailing list is, again, there have been a few issues with the post in a few mailing lists. We're not going to talk too much about it. This mailing list was, again, created by hackers.mu, but handed over to the hackers.mu community, meaning that it's now managed by neutral people. So again, the usual rules apply. You avoid writing any email that breaks the law of Mauritius, and you try to be as polite as possible on the mailing list. But again, try to be as precise when you describe your issue, so that the people, the nice people who are here replying to you, they take their time to understand your problem, and then try to be helpful to you. So there's a link. If you actually go in the description of the video, you have a link to the mailing list. You can just subscribe. Yes.
Sorry, can you show it on the screen? Just share.
Okay. Just share the screen.
Use the link of the mailing list, please.
Okay. So I'm just going to share my screen. Okay. It's now been shared. So as you can see, it's on Google Groups. The URL is this one, the same as the one in the description window. And we're going to share it with everybody. So we encourage everybody from any kind of level that you have. You can be a beginner or a very advanced user. The core point is to share and discuss. Okay, so for example, if I click on new topic, so I write it myself, I just do test, and I say, please, Discord. And then when I'm done, I can just click post. So this mailing list, Google Groups, Google has really done a lot of work to make it easy as possible to use mailing lists. The big advantage of mailing lists over something like Facebook is that you don't have to scroll to look for the history because the mailing list is indexed, and it's very easy to see list of post topics compared to Facebook, for example. So I just click on post, and then it's sent, as you can see here.
Okay, so
it's really,
Lucky is ready.
So we have to tell everybody. So there are a few people who are not. Okay, I'm just going to stop sharing my screen. So the people who are acting on moderators are not the hackers.mu team. So Javier Loki is acting as a moderator. There's also Niraj, not the Niraj we have today, but people who might have seen him at a few conferences. So Niraj, he has volunteered his time to serve as moderator. So really, it's about a team. It's about being neutral. It's about, for example, even if you don't quite agree with hackers.mu, we have no issues about you posting on that mailing list. So did I explain it well? Or do you want to add something more, Jagvir, as moderator?
No, it's okay, Logan. It's good. I'm going to manage the mailing list for you and for the community of hackers.mu. So, okay, let us do it in a good manner. We'll see in the future. So we encourage a lot of people to join the mailing list. And also, as Logan mentioned, feel free to ask any question about the internet and also about the internet security. So this guy will answer your question in a simple way that we can also make it easier to understand and also to how to implement it in the future.
Okay. So anything else to add?
Are there any requirements, prerequisites to join the mailing list?
Yes, you need to have an email address. And also you need, once you click on it, you can just ask for subscribe, and then the team of moderators will subscribe you.
Please, and one more question, Logan. So please, when you subscribe to the mailing list, make sure that you have written your full name, because I won't accept any anonymous email address. Like, for example, like princess.gmail.com. So make sure that you are the real person behind the screen that will send any question about the internet. That's it.
Yeah, people can also introduce themselves if you want once you join the meeting.
Yep. It's always a good idea to introduce yourself on a mailing list
before posting any questions.
Yeah. So yes, Darren, go on.
I see Jagvir is very serious about this moderator thing. I'm scared.
Why, bro? Why? Don't worry.
You sound scary, man. You sound scary.
Why? I'm not.
He's serious in his job.
Exactly, because we have to do it in a serious manner.
Professional fashion.
So again, thank you everybody for coming. I think it was a great podcast. Again, I thank everybody, Vina, who was very courageous to come online. Thank you, Vina.
And it's my
Hope-
pleasure. And thank you to you as well to have given me this opportunity to join in this live podcast. And
Thank
thank you
you.
to your team as well.
Yes. So just as a reminder for the people who were in University of Mauritius today, again, thank you all for coming to this session of Introduction to GitHub. It was a lot of fun for Nitin, myself, and Yash. And again, we look forward to meeting with all the students in the coming weeks.
Yeah, I will blog about it on genetics.com.
Okay. And don't forget to share it on the hackers.mu community group.
Oh, I will share it.
Yeah. So thank you all for coming. Thank you, Niraj, for taking your time.
Yeah, just to
Yeah,
add
thanks.
some stuff, so all people watching us, don't forget to follow our Twitter account and join us on the Facebook, the hackers.mu community group on Facebook and on our Twitter account. So over to you, Niraj.
Niraj, you can speak.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Hi, it's my pleasure for being here.
It was a pleasure for us to have you with us.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Welcome.
Ifa?
Any last words?
No, I'm good.
Jagvia?
Yeah, I would like to thank you so much, Lugan, for guiding the mailing list, and you have given me this opportunity to be the moderator of IT and Internet Dodoland. So let us do it together, and also we encourage people to join this for free. Okay, that's
Yeah.
it.
Darren? Darren, any last words?
No, nothing to add.
Okay. So again, I would like to stress that the mailing list, even if it's managed by the hackers.mu community, it's really for everybody in Mauritius. It's really a mailing list for all people in Mauritius and also those living in Mauritius to express their views in a polite way. And I look forward to seeing the discussion on the mailing list.
I forgot something.
Yes.
I encourage everyone to switch to MariaDB instead of all MySQL servers.
Hey, bro.
So that's it again. It was a really fun podcast. Thanks to everybody who came. And that's it. Bye-bye. Have a nice evening.
Okay, bye.
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 Okay, bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.